what he's doing against Arjun. He needs to be the one who's forcing Arjun to make the comeback. If Arjun gets on a hot streak, if he wins 2 in a row, I think that's going to be incredibly hard to make a fight back for Denis. What has been most impressive? What has been your biggest takeaway from the 5+1 so far, Aman?
Well, definitely what I'm seeing from Denis is his continued ability as the match continues here. The games are underway. His continued ability, Tanya, to play these relatively equal positions and just being content knowing that down the line, just one mistake, one blunder, even time playing a factor. He's happy to play a position that the engine says there's no advantage in because he knows there is a possibility that down the line, he just gets that one mistake and it flips the entire evaluation. So he's content just waiting, making a draw if needed, and pouncing on his opportunities.
And that's because the engines don't take into account the clock factor, the nerves factor, just slowly building the pressure and how difficult it is to be accurate in those positions if you're on the defensive side. Well, Arjun's shown this incredible ability to bounce back by being behind a point every single time so far. We've also seen the narrative of white pieces winning every single game. Will that change in 3+1?
Yeah, if that really matters, then the fact that Denis is starting this portion with the white pieces maybe is a bigger deal than we think. So I wonder if that's going to play a role.
Well, the position looks pretty nice for white. I will say that. Full central control with the pawns, the knight jumping forward. Arjun, to his case, makes a point about the bishop pair. But just the activity and the space in the center, a very healthy start for Denis in this one.
Agreed. I'm liking the position here, but it's kind of no surprise. We're once again in the Catalan, a structure, a position that he knows so well. And in general, the white pieces doing so well, it means that most of his Catalans have gone very well for him. It's a long game. It's a maneuvering game. I think those are the ones that he excels at.
An amazing understanding, of just playing with every single piece on the board, not forgetting about that rook on a1. Before going on any offense, thinking about the f-pawn moving forward, Denis just improves every single bit of his army. Arjun, meanwhile, wants to trade that very strong knight at the center of the board, maybe even eyeing an f6 move to drive it away.
Right, and actually to that point exactly, the knight drops back to d3. There's nowhere for this bishop to go. So in terms of neutralizing the bishop pair, I don't think this is something Arjun can really hang on to. The bishop cannot drop back, and you can see Denis is not even interested in taking it. That's how much he likes the knights here.
They're jumping around, and while it is the bishop pair, it's hard to think of any direct point of attack for these two pieces, especially the dark squared bishop on b4. But there is still a case to be made for the black pieces with the e4 pawn eyed by the knight and the bishop, the rook on d8 well placed. All the pawns defended, no apparent weakness. I think, yes, it's slightly better for white, but Arjun also with a healthy position, now putting pressure on the a4 pawn.
Yeah, I think the issue I have with the position for Arjun is I don't really know what he's going to do. It's not that the position itself is a position I don't like. It's that I'm not sure what the future looks like. Maybe that's true for Denis as well, but white has more space. So it's always easier to do nothing when you have more space.
And now he's setting up ideas of queen g4, knight h5. He's made that move e5, gaining that space that you're talking about, taking away a key defensive square from f6. The queen lands at the center instead, attacks the c6 pawn, d6 square, also a very juicy spot for the knight.
It is, and the computer just looked at queen e4 and immediately did not like it. I'm trying to figure out why, and I guess I'm thinking more and more about the move b5. But the knight drops back to e3, so kind of getting out of b5, and maybe now it wouldn't be such a useful idea.
Well, I think Denis is making his intentions clear, right? He's just bringing everything to the right flank. Knight g4, knight h5, h4 coming up the board, and he stops queen g5 from appearing for now. With the knights jumping around black's king, that's got to be bringing up your nerves with under a minute on the clock. b5, Arjun trying to break free with your plan on the other flank.
Yep, and I mean, rook d3, I'm wondering, is that just to double the rooks in the middle, maybe looking after the d-pawn, or is it to continue bringing pieces over on that king side. I'm wondering, should he just start doing that? Knight h5, knight g4 has the threat of knight f6, and instead it feels like we're forgetting about that king side in favor of madness in the middle.
Okay, this position has just exploded. And Arjun can't stop. He has to. The blue arrow appears, which means c4 is the move to go, is the way to go. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn looks incredibly scary. I have to say, this is very difficult for black to handle, much harder.
Yeah, and he's just gone and grabbed the pawn on a4. Now, the engine basically wanted, I think, this exact position, Tanya, except with the pawn on c4 being taken. It just goes to show how useful the c4 square is for white's pieces to use instead.
An incredible understanding there by Denis. You know, he didn't rush with knight g4, keeping perhaps this option open that if a4 was traded, the knight can go to c4, threatening a fork on b6 and eyeing that big d6 outpost as well. Not just that, white can push the pawn to d6, create a forever passer as well. Just so many tempting options, and Arjun, Denis even, with extra time on the clock.
This has been a recurring theme. I have to say the time management for Arjun has been one of his weaker points here. There are a lot of tactics. Knight e7 and knight c6 can be met maybe with rook takes on d3, so barely surviving. But Tanya, this looks really, really scary with all the knights jumping in. Oh my goodness, he expected a different one.
Look at the power play. That knight f7, knight takes pawn. Was it a pre-move? That was a pre-move. He was